The rain fell hard that night, tapping against the cracked windowpanes of the orphanage like impatient fingers. Inside, the girls huddled in their narrow beds, whispering under thin blankets. But one girl, small, pale, and wide-eyed, sat awake. Her name was Elara. And even though she had never known her parents, she was certain of one thing. She was a princess. She couldn't explain how she knew it. She had no crown, no silks, no kingdom waiting beyond the grey walls of St. Brindle's orphanage. But deep in her heart, she carried the quiet certainty that she did not belong there among the forgotten. Every night, before sleep took her, she whispered to herself, "One day, they'll come for me." The promise in the rain. Miss Harrow, the matron, liked to remind the girls that hope was a dangerous thing. "It makes beggars out of dreamers," she would say as she ladled out the thin soup. Elara would lower her gaze, hiding the spark in her eyes. But one stormy evening, as thunder rolled across the sky, the door burst open. A man in a black coat stepped in, rain dripping from his hat brim. He looked around, eyes sharp as glass. "I'm searching for a girl," he said, voice low. "A girl with a birthmark shaped like a crescent moon." The room went still. Elara's breath caught. On her left wrist, hidden beneath her sleeve, lay that very mark. Miss Harrow frowned. "None here matched that description," she said quickly. But the man's gaze swept the room until it found Elara. Their eyes met, and for a heartbeat, she felt something strange, familiarity. He gave her a small smile, almost sad. "Thank you," he murmured, turning to leave. But as he opened the door, he slipped a folded note onto the floor. Elara waited until everyone was asleep before crawling out of bed to find it. The paper was damp but legible. "Do not tell anyone. You are not safe here. Midnight, by the old gate." Her hands trembled as she read it again and again. Something inside her said it was true. That night, as the clock struck 12, Elara wrapped her thin blanket around her shoulders and crept through the dark halls. The gate stood half hidden behind ivy, rusted and half broken. The man was waiting. "You came," he said softly. "Good. Who are you?" she whispered. "My name is Corin. I was sent by your father." The words hit her like a bolt of lightning. "My father?" He nodded. "He's alive. But you're in danger, Elara. You must come with me now, before they find you." 2. The Secret of the Crown. They fled into the night. The world beyond the orphanage smelled of wet earth and smoke. Corin led her through narrow streets and over the bridge that marked the city's edge. When dawn came, they were miles away. As they walked, he told her fragments of the truth. Her father was King Alaric of the realm of Verdunth, a land across the sea. There had been a coup when she was just a baby. The royal family had been slaughtered, or so everyone believed. Only Elara had been smuggled away. "But why now?" she asked. "Why come for me after all these years?" "Because the usurper is dead," Corin said. "And there are those who still remember the true bloodline. You are the last of it." Her heart raced. The words were heavy, glorious, frightening. She wanted to believe them, but doubt crept in. And Miss Harrow? Did she know? Corin's expression darkened. She did more than know. The orphanage was a cover, funded by those who wanted to keep you hidden. Or worse. Elara's stomach turned cold. They traveled for days, through forests and villages, avoiding soldiers and watchmen. Corin taught her how to blend in, how to keep her head down, how to lie when asked her name. At night, he told her stories of her mother, Queen Lysandra. How she used to play the harp beneath the silver trees. How she believed that kindness was stronger than fear. Each story wove a picture of the life Elara had been denied, and with every word, her yearning grew. But so did the weight of what was expected of her. 3. The shadows follow. It was in the town of Vales Crossing that the first attack came. They were resting at an inn when Corin noticed them, 3 men sitting too still in the corner, eyes fixed on Elara. He didn't wait. He grabbed her hand and ran through the back door. The men followed. Down the cobbled alleys they fled, footsteps echoing behind them. A knife flashed in the dark. Corin turned, blocking the strike, but one blade caught his arm. Blood blossomed on his sleeve. "Go," he shouted. "Run." She didn't. Instead, she grabbed a loose plank and swung it with all her strength. The blow startled one of the men, giving Corin a chance to push the other 2 back. They darted into the forest beyond the town, breathless and terrified. When they finally stopped, Corin sank to the ground, pale from blood loss. "You saved me," he said weakly. Tears welled in her eyes. "You saved me first." He smiled faintly. "You really are your mother's daughter." She tore a strip from her dress to bind his wound. "We'll find help," she whispered. But when she looked up, she saw the faint glow of torches in the distance. They were still being hunted. For, the truth beneath the crown. They reached the coast days later, half-starved. A small ship waited at the dock, arranged by one of Corin's allies. But before they could board, a woman stepped from the shadows. "Elara," she said, voice smooth as silk. "I've waited a long time to meet you." She was tall, dressed in black velvet, with eyes like polished stone. Corin stiffened. "Marwan," he hissed. "Still alive, I see," she said. "That's unfortunate." Elara's heart pounded. "Who is she?" "The Queen's sister," Corin said. "The one who betrayed your family." Marwan smiled. "Betrayed? No, child. I saved the kingdom. Your father was weak. He would have led us to ruin. You're too young to remember what power does to kind men." She stepped closer. "Come with me. You can still have a crown, without the lies he's fed you." Elara stared at her. For a moment, she saw what the woman meant, the promise of safety, comfort, power. But behind it, she saw something colder. A hunger that had nothing to do with love or duty. "I don't want your crown," Elara said quietly. "Not if it's built on blood." Marwan's smile faded. "Then you will die for a dream." Corin drew his sword. "Over my body." The fight was brief and brutal. Corin's wound slowed him, and one of Marwan's guards struck him down. Elara screamed. In the chaos, she snatched his fallen dagger and ran, darting toward the dock. Arrows hissed past her, one grazing her shoulder. She leapt aboard the ship, cutting the ropes with trembling hands. As it drifted into open water, Marwan stood on the pier, her face calm and expressionless. "This isn't over," she called. Elara collapsed on the deck, sobbing. The crownless princess. Corin's body was buried at sea. She wept as the waves closed over him. He had given everything for her, and now she was alone again. But not the same kind of alone as before. For the first time, she understood what it meant to carry a legacy, not the glory, but the weight. Weeks later, the ship reached Verdantha's coast. The kingdom was not what Corin's stories had promised. The land was weary, the villages quiet, the people uncertain. Yet when they saw the girl with the crescent mark, whispers spread like fire. "The princess lives. The true heir has returned." At first, she was afraid of their hope. She didn't know how to rule. She didn't even know who she was, beyond an orphan who dreamed too much. But she remembered Corin's words, her mother's kindness, her father's courage. So she spoke to the people, not from a throne but from the steps of the ruined palace. "My name is Elara Lysandra," she said, her voice steady. "I have no crown, no riches, and no army. But I have what my family died for, the belief that mercy can rebuild what cruelty destroyed. If you will have me, I will fight for you." The crowd was silent for a moment. Then someone began to cheer. And then another. Soon, the sound filled the square like thunder. For the first time, Elara smiled, not because she was found, but because she had found herself. 6. The shadow still waits. But far across the sea, in a darkened hall lit by dying embers, Marwan watched the flames. "She's alive," said a voice beside her. Marwan's lips curved into a thin smile. "Of course she is. The child has her mother's heart. That's her greatest strength, and her greatest weakness." She turned to the messenger. "Tell them to prepare. A storm is coming for Verdant." Outside, lightning split the sky. And far away, in the sleeping palace by the sea, Elara dreamed of thunder.